Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to another episode of the DC Universe Annotated podcast. Now, today, just to get our topics out of the way before we kind of, get into the I guess pre-topic stuff. So we are going to be talking about Wonder Woman 1984 going to HBO Max. It's probably the biggest news altogether, just because it's a huge surprise. Then after that, we're going to talk about some of the new information and the trailer we received for the Zack Snyder or Justice League Director's Cut trailer, which will be coming on HBO Max next year. Then Green Lantern, HBO Max showed details for the characters specifically. And last but not least, this interesting news about a Wonder Girl series that will be reportedly, I guess, go to the CW more likely than not, but it'll be featuring a Latina Wonder Woman, which is definitely very interesting. So yeah, those are our topics for today. And I guess before we get into it, it would be terrible of me to not introduce the person I'm joined with today. Jorge, how are you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you today?
It's really early for me. So I got my coffee. I'm hoping I don't look too bummish today. For those who are watching the video segments and stuff like that, since I'll be on cam for it. But I'm wearing my Superman Man of Steel inspired hat so I have something DC. You know what I mean? It was either that or I wear a pink hoodie, but I didn't really think the pink hoodie kind of conveyed DC. So I wanted to do to at least wear something that had DC characters or something on it. Um, but yeah, that's how I'm doing. I guess before we really get into any topics, which topic most interests you so far? Like before we get into it.
Uh, really, I'm really curious to talk about the Wonder Woman 1984 release because it's very interesting that they chose to release it through HBO Max because it kind of feels like a last resort for them. But you know, just yeah, it's very interesting that they did that move.
Yeah. And if anyone hears like that crying noise in the background, that's just my cat. She's been very needy lately. So I don't know, for whatever reason, she does that when she plays, I guess. Like, like the toy mice or whatever. Like she'll have like toy mouse in her a toy mouse in her mouth. And she'll just be like running around crying left and right. You'll think she's dying or something. Um, but anyways, let's just get right into it. So HBO Max decided this kind of neatly segues, since we're talking about, one Greg Berlanti produced DC show, talk about another one really quick. The news came out a few days ago, actually. Yeah, a few days ago. I'm reading the article now. But Greg Berlanti and the CW are planning on making a new series called Wonder Girl, which will be a drama based on the new DC Comics characters. So not the usual Wonder Girl that a lot of people may be thinking of, but a new Latina character named Yara Flor. And I'm really hoping I pronounced that name correctly. But she basically, in a similar way to how Wonder Woman is the daughter of the Amazonian queen and Zeus, this character is the daughter of an Amazonian warrior and a Brazilian river god. And she eventually finds out that, she's a demigod, basically, similar to Wonder Woman, and she uses that newfound powers and abilities to fight evil that would seek to destroy the world. Um, According to this article, this would make her the first Latina superhero title of a DC TV series. Um, and I guess someone who is this individual, one of the writers on the show and a showrunner, is the daughter of Cuban immigrants and is going to be executively producing the series. So I guess maybe some of those, background experiences will play a part in writing the character and their backstory for the show. But you were telling me about a little bit about this earlier. The character is set to appear as a future Wonder Woman in the DC Comics Future Slate stuff that's going to be happening in the upcoming weeks. So, yeah, that's kind of interesting. I don't know if you want to, kind of take it,
Just
talk
like
about it.
just going off of like this article that you sent me, I remember it mentioned saying that after the release of this character or after the release of this character, I guess for the show, I'm confused which is coming first, but they mentioned that they would like to see this character in the comics in the near future. I believe the time frame they gave it was by next January, which I think also correlates with, I don't know if anyone's following the DC Comics book right now, but the whole like event that's going on right now, where it's like they're definitely gonna like reslate everything. So in all honesty, it's perfect time that they're gonna reintroduce her because, like I said earlier, I think DC is doing a new way of storytelling where instead of introducing a new character first in the comics, they have the potential of being introduced first in a movie or TV show. Or another thing that I've also thought about was they may bring back an old character through an old TV show or a movie because that's also like kind of like the best way to like introduce fans to older characters slash new characters because that's like a visual way of seeing the character, seeing who the character is as compared to just reading about it. And I feel like it's going to be a good first step to getting people from the movie to the comics because, hey, like this character is in the movie. Oh, and now they're in a comic book. So let me see how this character differs from a movie from a comic book character because I think it's going to be like a whole like manga anime situation where like for any anime manga fans out there where sometimes characters are completely different from an anime than they are from a manga. And it could be the same situation. Well, it is already kind of the same situation with DC compared to movies and the comics. Like when I was watching, like again, Titans the other day, like Robin was straight up killing people. Like what WTF?
Yeah.
And I was like, you know, Dick Grayson would never do that in the comic books that I know of, any source I've read so far. So I think it's very interesting that they're taking this approach because I think they just want more people to be invested, and I think visuals is the best way to get that audience invested into the product.
Yeah. And this actually makes me think, I mean, so I don't know if you saw this, but they announced like in the last few days as well, Black Lightning is actually going to be canceled. So after the season that they're filming right now, um, which I think it's like maybe their fourth season, I think, but after this season, like that's it basically. Which is kind of sad because they just brought, that TV show in like all those CW shows together. And then I guess Supergirl's ending too. And then they're going to make the Superman show with Superman and Lois TV show. You know, this is one of the reasons why, I mean, I think it's cool they're doing this. And I think this will be a really great premise for the show, doing this new Wonder Girl, just because and honestly, they should just call her Wonder Woman. I mean, like, honestly, if the original Wonder Woman's not going to even appear or be referenced in any way, and she hasn't appeared that I know of yet in the CW universe, I mean, you might as well just make this character Wonder Woman. But
Yeah.
I like it just because I think there's so much creative freedom and flexibility that you can do a lot of things. I mean, you can touch up and reimagine previous Wonder Woman storylines. You can make entirely new ones. Like Cheetah, for example, right? Like I'll be really curious to see if they do a new version of that character because I'm sure there's a lot of applications for that character in their origin with this new Wonder Woman or Wonder Girl storyline and her origins and stuff like that. And I mean, obviously, you can definitely touch upon. I mean, if her father's a river god, right? You can definitely touch upon a lot of the conservation efforts that are going on in Central and South America, and I hope they do touch upon those because it's really important. Um, so I'm definitely a huge fan of it, and maybe Swamp Thing can appear or something, considering you know.
Green and all that song. Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I definitely think, this is all really cool. And, just like a quick side note, this is one of the reasons why I wish the CW and Greg Berlanti were a little bit more careful with like the Flash TV show,
Right.
because when they introduced Wally West so early, and it's clear that they didn't really have a long-term plan for that character. This would be, the Flash TV show, based on what the actors have said, is going to come to an end soon, whether for the better or for the worse, right? And this is one of those moments where, especially if the CW wants to make these DC TV shows more diverse, like we're getting a Latina Wonder Woman, even though Black Lightning is going to end soon, we're getting a new Batwoman who's played by a Black actress. What was the other TV series they just announced? they announced another. Hold on, let me read the article. I think it references it. Oh well, yeah. I guess it was just Batwoman, but just in general, Wally West has already been introduced because Iris West is black. Wally West in the CW has been introduced as black. So if they wanted to continue this, basically this movement that they're trying to do of pushing more diverse characters, and I think, well, the actor that plays Wally West, he's also LGBT, but um, I mean, if they had a more structured plan going forward, this would be a great time to also maybe not introduce Wally for the first time, but start introducing Wally in anticipation for maybe a transition of him being the main character. And you can do, the whole Barry Allen sacrifice, all that stuff, like in the comics.
Yeah.
And it'd be an interesting way of them continuing the Flash going forward. Because one of the things I'm worried about with the CW verse, since Arrow's now gone, is you don't really have that connective tissue. You know what I mean? Like before, everything connected one way or another to Arrow. Now you don't have that. So they need one show to still be around that can be kind of like that pillar that everything goes off of, whether it's for the crossovers or whatever. So I wonder how they're going to connect this show, because I don't think any. See, hold on, where is she supposed to be at again? This Wonder Girl. She's supposed to be.
Let's see. I think
I'm assuming in Brazil, because her father is a Brazilian river god.
This is the Amazon in South America, which also makes sense with her Latin origins, and also kind of makes sense with the whole Amazon thing because Amazonians like in actual history, they have could actually be in the Amazons in Brazil. So that's also a kind of cool concept too that they're doing.
Yeah. What I hope they don't do, but I have a strong feeling they might do, to be honest, is they're going to do a thing where she has mysterious origins. She doesn't know who her parents are. And she ends up being adopted by some American family. And the show is going to take place in like a fictional city in Florida or maybe Texas or even one of the southern states that kind of like borders the Gulf or something. I can easily see them do that. I'm actually really sure they're going to do that. I would put my money, if you gave me a bunch of chips like poker, I would put my chips on a fictional Miami, kind of like that would be the setting, if I'm being totally honest.
Well,
Um,
if you think about it, if they were to do that, maybe the reason why they would do it because they would find it harder for current CW characters to like interact with her per se for any future like events, and I think that's why they want to do it. To like have her in like an American city, just to have like easy access to this character. I would say.
yeah. Well, to be honest, the other reason too is I just think the CW's main audience, for the most part, is still, an American audience.
Yeah.
Even though they film the shows in Canada and stuff like that, they're not going to, I feel like they're not going to want to deal with a TV show where, in theory, all the main characters wouldn't be speaking English, or
Right.
they would have like a strong accent. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing wrong with that, but
Yeah.
just thinking of the audience of the CW, if they put it in like a fictional Miami or something like that, or just Miami in general, or let's say like Austin, not Austin, but maybe like a Houston, going as far west as like a pseudo LA or like a city in California, that way they could still have characters speak primarily English, but still have heritage and, you could do storylines that connect to ancestry back to like Central or South America. The only thing though is, in Brazil, they speak Portuguese. They don't speak Spanish. Well, I guess some people probably speak Spanish there, but I think their official language is Portuguese. So I wonder, I mean, I don't know this for sure, how many people of Brazilian descent are in Florida or anything like that, but I wonder how they're going to do that. I wonder, do they have a Brazilian writer on the show besides the
Sure.
showrunner who's Cuban? I'm really curious.
But my thing is, if they were to go like maybe if they were to stay in Brazil, I would say they could possibly go like the Narcos route, where it's like, have you seen Narcos?
I've seen bits and pieces, but
Yeah.
and it's actually funny you mentioned that
Yeah.
because one of the actors that was in Narcos is now actually going to be the villain in Black Panther 2. He's going to play the villain. But go on.
Yeah, so like they could go the Narcos route where it's like how you said like the whole language barrier could be like a problem. But with Narcos, the way they like kind of did it and had that whole story set in Colombia, but people were set up to follow it was pretty much have the American characters speak English and all the Colombian characters speak Spanish and Spanish only. And like you wouldn't really you like never saw them speak Spanish or English, so you only see the subtitles. They could go that route, but I think there are another route they could go to by using this format where it's like the characters could be speaking like Portuguese or whatever to the character on the show, but to us, like they're speaking in English so that we can understand. So that way we don't see any subtitles. They could go that route with this show, and it would be really interesting to see that because I don't know, I kind of like to see that kind of like experimentation with like new shows coming up.
Yeah, I'm trying to look up really quick just well, I guess they haven't really done any details on the character yet to really give any idea of like maybe how they're going to approach it. But I mean, regardless, it'll be interesting to see how they do it. I think I mean, we'll see what happens. You know what I mean? Because we know one way or the other, especially if the show is going to be on the CW, produced by the same guy that produces all the other ones, it will end up connecting one way or the other with like a crossover or something. They'll connect them all together. They'll put them in the same universe. The characters will interact. So, I mean, it'll be curious to see how they do it. I mean, honestly, the show. Well, yeah, we'll see what they do. But yeah, that's about it for this episode. Thanks for checking it out. Let us know what topic was your favorite and your guys' thoughts about each topic as well, because I mean, we covered like a variety of different things. I mean, in hindsight, I think my favorite topic is probably this TV show that we were just talking about, the Wonder Girl TV show, just because it's such a new character. There's no definitive canon, so to speak. So you could do whatever you want,
Right.
which is kind of refreshing, honestly. You don't have any situations where any decision you make with Barry or Iris, like in the Flash show, fans will be upset because you're contradicting this or that. Same thing for Arrow. I mean, you have none of that baggage, basically, which is kind of nice. But I mean, what do you think? What was your favorite topic?
Uh, Personally, my favorite topic was actually the Wonder Woman 1984, just because like I think it's just a great direction that DC's taking with the way they're going to release movies and potentially other movies in the future, just to like get the hype up for HBO Max because HBO I've been an HBO guy since like I don't know how long. Like it's filled with great shows, all that kind of stuff, and I'm super glad like DC is coming to the platform. And I think Wonder Woman's just a really great like introduction for more DC fans to welcome to the platform.
Nice. Nice. All right, cool. Well, thanks for checking out this episode, everybody. And we'll see you guys next week.
See you guys.
Peace.